It's 6 p.m. on election night. Do you know where your ballot is? Chances are it's still on the counter because Coloradans aren't real hot on voting this year, despite all the influencers being paid to have opinions about what's on the ballot.
They're targeting a particular section of voters, too.
Small food banks are struggling as food budgets double, with the federal government pausing SNAP benefits.
Their biggest worry so far is how long is this going to last?
And preschoolers get a taste of democracy in action.
I like the banana.
Whether you voted for the banana or not, welcome in to Next. It's an odd year election, which means those of us who have voted are the odd ones. Only 1 in 4 Coloradans have voted as of this afternoon. Now, usually on election night, I urge people, you can go vote in person in this final hour if you have not already, but our relationship's based on honesty and respect. And honestly, Colorado has and will see far more consequential elections than tonight's. So as long as you promise to vote next year, sit back, we're cool, don't worry about it. But listen, what happens tonight does matter. It especially matters in the city of Denver. Voters have been asked to approve the 5-part, nearly $1 billion Vibrant Denver bond, and our Marshall Zellinger's out at the 8th Avenue Viaduct. Marshall, that is the most expensive item on the mayor's long wish list.
It is, and I'm going to get out of the way because it's an active bridge right now. Is this bridge great? No, cyclists are coming by us right now. Is this bridge about to fall down? No, and I hope not, because photojournalist Foster Gaines and I and a few cyclists are standing on it. Is this part of ballot issue 2A because the Broncos Stadium, which is lit up over there, wants to move to a darker area over here? It's a great question that we'll never know the answer to because you can't unwind the Broncos Stadium announcement. This bridge and the 6th Avenue Bridge just to the south of here are the big ticket items on ballot issue 2A. They're not the worst bridges in Denver, but as we reported yesterday, the city needs to seek federal funding and grants to pay for the rebuilds, and that takes time. So perhaps that's why they're on the ballot this year. But it's also convenient that the bridges are on the ballot at the same time that the Broncos have announced their new stadium, which will be built at Burnham Yard just to the north of the bridge. In July, the city's bond manager did not try to dance around that fact.
It is impossible to not get to that thought process. It is impossible to ignore the Broncos as a thing in Denver. So telling you that there's no weight there or that there's no consideration there would be insulting to everybody at this table.
As Kyle said at the beginning, we're an honest show. That's a very honest answer. These bridges are not the only things on ballot issue 2A. There are other transportation and road improvement projects, and the other bond issues include parks and rec and libraries and pool improvements, a new health center and a new child advocacy center, a new public safety training center, and some additional money for homelessness and homeless shelters and affordable housing. Kyle, in most years, bond issues pass. We'll find out in just a little while if this is like most years. We're going to head over to the bond issue watch party after we get off of this busy bridge. And just to make producer Marilyn safe, I'm not wearing a vest because we're on the other side of a concrete barrier. I'm not standing just on the edge of the roadway traffic here on the bridge.
I was going to ask about that. At the very beginning of the shot, I couldn't see the Jersey barrier, and you were sweating me a little bit, Marshall. But okay. All right, very good, because we need you tonight. It's election night, all right? Stay safe. Marshall Zellinger, thank you.
I'll be here.
All kinds of influencers are trying to influence the vote this year. There are the billionaires cutting checks for ungodly amounts of money. And on social media, local influencers are being paid to have deeply held opinions about things like infrastructure bonds. Here's Mark Salinger.
The people who influence your votes are changing. On one hand, you have the billionaires who've always funded campaigns, but on the other, we're starting to see the rise of social media influencers posting on behalf of campaigns to reach younger voters.
When it comes to especially like influencing and reaching people where they are, a lot of it is about building community with your audience.
Raina Kinston will be the first to tell you she wears a lot of hats.
I like to say that I'm a community activist. I think a lot of people do also say that I'm an influencer, and I'm also running for office in House District 5 in 2026.
She also understands the power of social media in reaching a younger audience that often doesn't vote. She turned down an influencer campaign this election cycle from the Vibrant Denver Bond campaign because she's running for office.
When I decide like any campaign to take on, whether it's a political campaign or not, it really is about, does this speak to my community? Will my audience engage with it? And does it not feel like it's coming out from like left field.
But social media was flooded with local influencers paid by the campaign to reach their audiences in new ways, from dog influencers to health influencers.
The Vibrant Denver bill is hoping to address that.
To food influencers.
It means improving Denver's community spaces and infrastructure.
The videos contracted by the campaign each target a specific audience to convince people scrolling on social to vote for the bond initiatives. Then you have the billionaires. Former New York City Mayor Michael Bloomberg has donated $5 million this election cycle to try and keep Denver's ban on flavored tobacco. The TV commercials have flooded our airwaves.
Here's what voting yes on 310 means.
The Denver clerk says it's the largest contribution made by an individual to a municipal race in the city ever.
The first big campaign to take advantage of social media and influencers was the second Obama campaign.
Chris Jennings is a journalism professor at MSU Denver. He says both Bloomberg and influencers are chasing after the same goal, just in different ways.
They're targeting a particular section of voters too. I mean, if you look at where the money's spent and where they're advertising where these particular voters are.
So when it comes to campaign strategy, it's actually really interesting. The Vibrant Denver Bond campaign tells me that they chose the influencers specifically to try and reach voters that are passionate about specific fields, everything from parents to book lovers to foodies, and they find influencers on those specific accounts that they believe will go to voters who are specifically interested in how the bond measure will impact things that they love.
Sure, I think that makes sense. They are supposed to disclose, right, that they're being paid to say this stuff?
Yeah, at the bottom, everybody has hashtag ad or hashtag partner or paid for by Vibrant Denver Bond campaign. I love some of them though that are yeah, I'm being paid for this, but also I would vote for it.
But I believe
But I'm also being paid.
You know what? It just brings up, I was actually thinking about this the other day, how deeply weird but also wonderful it is that we have jobs where we get to just tell people the truth and what we think, as opposed to somebody being now say this.
I always say when people ask me who are you voting for, I say I am paid not to have an opinion, literally.
Yeah, there you go. All right, Mark Salinger, thank you. Campaigns and interest groups are texting voters like they're your bestie these days. They get your number from the public voter file. Campaigns can also partner with data companies that have created targeted voter profiles using the data sets that they have bought and organized.
There's a lot of data brokers in this space. I do expect that across the board, companies of all sizes are relying on multiple sources of information. Some of them are first party and others are third party.
The text messages supplement the typical campaign flyers that come in the mail, but the texts are cheaper. They only cost campaigns about 5 cents per text, so they can reach a lot of people a lot more quickly. Food banks across Colorado are spending significant amounts of money right now to keep up with the increased demand due to the pause in SNAP food benefits. One organization in Southwest Denver told our Angeline McCall their food budget has doubled, and they worry they can't sustain the pace.
Every day, it seems the line gets a little longer.
Yeah, it makes it pretty tough.
This is Community Ministry of Southwest Denver, a food pantry in Denver's Ruby Hill neighborhood.
It seems like there's nobody trying to help us out and fix the problem.
Juan Villegas Flores knows the struggle many people face when they show up.
Donnie, how we doing?
He's a SNAP recipient who also works here. The food pantry has been seeing twice as many people since SNAP announced a pause.
About 2 weeks ago, we saw our numbers increase by 50%.
Executive Director Joyce Newfield says the food pantry was seeing about 50 families a day. That number jumped to about 90.
It was kind of a shock that it just jumped so fast. We thought it would jump starting November 1st, but it jumped the week before.
The team would usually purchase about $2,000 worth of food. Now it's up to almost $8,000 this week.
You know, right now we can hold steady with what we've got, but if we see it jump double again, then we're going to be in big, big trouble.
For people who are going without SNAP, there's no end in sight.
It is causing a lot of stress because, you know, before all the people already were balancing what it meant to pay their rent and their insurance and their car payments and all those different things. And now to withdraw their food from them, it just seems like that is like the ultimate, dehumanizing of our people.
That's a lot of people though.
Juan and others in that same position know they'll be waiting, coming back for help they can't find in other programs.
If I wasn't here at the food bank where I could get a little bit of help, yeah, I would definitely not be able to afford food, I would have to probably sell or pawn a lot of my stuff.
President Trump suggested this morning that the White House would not pay SNAP benefits in accordance to the court order that was issued. The White House stepped in later to say that they would fully comply with the order, but not after already causing a lot of confusion. Kyle?
Yeah, I mean, back and forth and back again today for people. I mean, you just think about all the folks, right? Like Joyce, they're in the fight. They've been in the fight for a while. I mean, she's been doing this since when?
Since 2008, in fact. She actually started during the recession back then. That was when she started working at this particular food pantry, and she's just a couple of months away from retirement. And she said that, you know, this is another crisis with SNAP, and she's seen more people than ever relying on food assistance programs and food pantries. And so she said that she does feel a little bit guilty knowing that there's so much need, and she's poured her life's work into helping people in this exact situation.
It's tough to hear that she feels that way. Angeline McCall, thank you. DIA is one of several airports around the country seeing flight delays because of air traffic control staffing issues during the government shutdown. Air traffic control isn't getting paid during the shutdown. It's led to an increase in sick calls. Some are calling out to work side jobs for immediate income, like driving rideshare or food delivery. The Federal Aviation Administration says Denver's air traffic control tower will be short-staffed until 7 p.m. tonight. Since the start of the shutdown, there have been more than 400 staffing triggers, as they call them, requiring delays or rerouted flights, 4 times more than what was reported same time last year. A win this week for 2 city leaders who are in conflict with Denver's mayor.
If you don't make a choice, somebody else will take your choice.
Yeah, you can't have that. Those are wise words from Preschooler. Never too early to learn. Your vote matters. That's next. Denver City Council made 10 changes to the mayor's budget last night that they publicly ripped as having no values. There were 27 proposed changes discussed. At the end of a marathon session, wins for the city auditor and clerk's office. They get the funding that they wanted, and a win for the police department, which avoided major cuts proposed by some progressives on council. Auditor Tim O'Brien and Clerk Paul Lopez both demanded a return to their full budget figures. So council reversed cuts made by Mayor Mike Johnson's administration. City Council approved moving some contingency fund dollars to make that happen. 2 amendments to pull $9 million from the police budget and use it on homelessness programs narrowly failed. The police chief showed up last night and said that cutting funding for future recruit classes would have a staggering impact on DPD. He suggested it could add up to 2 minutes in response times on priority calls.
The number of officers that we have on our department, I think, directly relates to some of the public safety impacts that we have had are significant reductions in auto thefts, homicides, non-fatal shootings. All of that work takes people. And so to not have those people focused on that work, I think would detract from public safety.
City Council ended up moving about $750,000 from DPD to fund the city's STAR program and the crisis response teams at the Denver jail. Mayor Johnson does have the power to veto any of the amendments passed by City Council before that budget is final. City Council could then override that veto with a supermajority. CDOT workers are going to pause construction on I-70 over the winter starting on Friday so that skiers will have normal 2-lane traffic that they can sit in a standstill on Vail Pass. The $325 million West Vail Pass Auxiliary Lane project started in 2021. The work is expected to finally finish next year. CDOT has opened up a new bridge with some wider shoulders, added an auxiliary lane for semis and slow-moving traffic. When the construction resumes in the spring, they'll work on avalanche and rockfall mitigation and complete 6 wildlife underpasses for the critters to go beneath. Meteorologist Chris Bianchi, it's been a while since it snowed around here.
Exactly right. In fact, 200 consecutive days of snowless weather for us here in Denver. Last time it snowed, April the 18th. This is only the 16th time on record, going back 140 plus years, that we've had 200 consecutive days with no measurable snow for us here in Denver. And you know what? We got nothing, not a zilch in the next 10-day outlook. So this will likely end up as one of our top 10 longest such streaks on record. Again, 200 days with no measurable snow for us here in Denver tonight. No snow, but temperatures drop back into the upper 30s. We won't even get to freezing tonight. We did top out at 74 out at the airport today. Here at our studios in 9 News, it topped out at 75 degrees. Fair skies, light winds, and mild forward tonight. Tomorrow, we'll top out in the upper 60s near 70 degrees. A weak cold front moves through tonight. It'll be another sunny, dry day ahead for us for tomorrow. 50s, 60s in the mountains. Closer to about 15 degrees above average for us in the mountains. Closer to about 10 degrees above average for us out across the eastern plains. And that 7-day forecast, if you're looking for that rain or that snow, not for us here in Denver. We do cool down this weekend with temperatures topping out in the 50s, overnight lows in the 20s, and then warming back up next week.
Preschoolers went to the polls today. Banana, granola bar, croissant. Croissant? Sounds like foreign money in our elections, if you ask me. Hey, a reminder, you can catch Next streaming each night, 6 p.m. on 9 News Plus, and Next is a podcast each weeknight, wherever you find those. Election day is all about being heard, right? Being part of the process. So why should it only be limited to adults of voting age? In Denver today, it wasn't. Here's Byron Reed.
You're making a choice.
Election day is about making decisions on issues that affect our lives.
We're going to fill out a ballot. Which one do you want? So we're going to go down the hallway and we're going to walk.
For the students at Clayton Early Learning in Denver, the choices are clear.
I like the banana.
4-year-old Matthias,
because I liked it and because it was so soft.
is learning a lesson about having a voice.
You want to try the banana?
The school held their own election day so students could cast their ballots for an issue they've been craving to get resolved.
So they had 2 breakfast options. I think one was a granola bar and one was a croissant with a chia jam.
Preschoolers got a sample of the candidates, cast their votes, and received stickers to prove they went to the ballot box.
We think citizenship starts young and early, and we think this is a great way to get them introduced to those core values that we as a country believe in.
William Browning is the school's president and CEO. He believes the polling is hitting home.
I think it's where civility actually is bred and born. So really thinking about how kids can learn how their voice matters, using their voice, how they compromise and understand that just because you vote for something and you don't win is actually not the worst thing ever.
The ballots are officially counted with the final numbers close at hand.
Strawberry croissant with chia jam. I think it's going to take this election. They were able to mark which one they really like, and they made it clear that this is what I want. This is what is good.
The school host Matthias and his classmates will remember how big an impact their tiny voices can have.
If you don't make a choice, somebody else will take your choice.
For Next,
I like both of them.
I'm Byron Reed.
Take your choice, kid. The school will respect the outcome of the election and add it to the breakfast menu. The strawberry croissant with chia jam won in a landslide, 88-34. Here comes your feedback from our producer, Mallory Harris. Hey, join us, like the two of us, 7:15, 9 News Plus, going through the election results as they come in. Mallory will be right here. If you have ever wanted to listen to her correct me live on TV and not just in my ear, tonight's the night. Tonight's the night. Feedback next. Feedback tonight from Fairlight. That is a very cool name. Odd move to give people the okay to skip voting if people had not made it out this year. I expected some folks to react that way. Here's what I would say. You always hear this is the most important election of our lifetime. The fact is, tonight's is not. It doesn't mean that there isn't important stuff that we'll discuss at 7:15, streaming on 9 News Plus.